Español 2, Futuro Simple. After an entire quarter of working with the present tense, present, 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 over and over and over again, we are finally ready to move on to a new verb tense. So we are going to learn the Futuro Simple. The Futuro Simple is the future tense in Spanish. When you use it, you're using it to describe what will happen. So this is different than the going to form. So we've talked about the going to form using ir a plus the infinitive to indicate that something is going to happen. That's not really a verb tense. It's just a two-verb sentence, and we've used a variety of two-verb sentences. In order to be a tense, you have to actually take the infinitive of the verb and change it somehow. And that's what you do when you're doing the futuro simple. And when you do that, instead of saying that something is going to happen, you're saying that something will happen. To form the futuro simple, you're going to start with either the infinitive or the irregular stem. So most of the time, you're going to start with the infinitive. But there are a few times where you might start with the irregular stem. And then you are going to add the endings, and there is a different set of endings for the futuro simple. So again, most of the time you're just going to start with the infinitive. Don't take anything off, start with the entire infinitive. But there are a few times when you need to start with irregular stems. And here are some of the verbs that use irregular stems. With hacer, you're not going to use the entire infinitive. You are going to change hacer to ar. For poder, it's going to change to podre. For poner, it changes to pondre. For querer, it changes to quer. So again, all of these, notice you cannot just take the infinitive for any of these. You actually have to memorize what the beginning is going to be. There are a few more. We also have salir, which changes to saldre. Tener changes to tendre. And venir, which is a sister verb to tener, changes to vendre. So again, you can't just use the infinitive here, you have to use the irregular stem. So the first thing you're going to do when you conjugate a verb in the futuro simple is you're going to look at these irregular stems and you're going to decide, is the verb that I want to use, the action that I want to put in the future, is it one of these 7 verbs? If it is, then you look at which stem it's going to be and you use that stem. If it's not one of these verbs, you use the infinitive. That's it. Right? That's it. You just use the infinitive. So let's talk about the endings. The good news is there's only one set of endings for the futuro simple. So you usually, for the futuro simple, not for the futuro simple, I'm sorry, you usually, for the present tense, have to worry about what kind of verb it is. Is it an ER verb, an IR verb, or an AR verb? For futuro simple, you do not have to do that. There's only one set of endings. It doesn't matter what type of verb it is. It doesn't matter whether it has an irregular stem or not. It doesn't matter. No matter what, these are the only endings that you are going to use. For yo, it is e. For tú, it is as. Ele, usted, a. Nosotros, hemos. Vosotros, eis. Ellos, ellas, ustedes, han. So let's talk about some examples. If I want to say I will go, I'm going to take the verb for to go, which is ir, and I'm just going to use ir. I'm not going to change it in any way. I'm not going to take anything off. And then I am going to add the future ending, which for I is a. So iré means I will go. Now notice that in English it is 2 words, will and go. Because in English, the way we do the future tense is we actually use a helping verb. We use will. In Spanish, you do not do that. So if you want to say that something will happen, the verb that you want is the action verb. What is actually going to happen? The going is going to happen, and then that is going to be the verb that I put in the future. Let's take a look at some other examples. She will go out. All right, so I want to use to go out. That is my verb, to go out. So my verb to go out is salir, but salir is on my list of those 7 verbs that is irregular. So I have to remember to change salir to saldrá before I add my ella ending. Ella saldrá. Then we are going to say we will read. All right, to read is leer, so I'm using the infinitive, just the infinitive. I'm not taking anything off of it. Don't mess with it, just add. And then I'm going to add the nosotros ending, which is hemos. So I get leeremos. The girls will be tired. All right, so I have the girls, las muchachas. All right, will be, the verb is be. So here is estar in the infinitive. And then I am going to add the as ending. So estarán cansadas. So a few things to remember. First of all, if you are using an infinitive and not an irregular stem, if you're using the infinitive, use the entire thing. Don't mess with it. Just add your endings. And also remember that in English we use 2 words for the future tense because we put that will word in as our helping verb. In Spanish, there's no helping verb. Your future tense is just 1 word. You're just taking your action and then you are changing that conjugation to put it in the future tense. So try a little practice and I will see you in class.